Hi, I'm Barry John, and welcome back to Let's Play to say, wait a second, this is Overload, this is not Descent. I have two co-pilots, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I am A172. I usually don't do catchphrases, I'm not that creative.
I'm Laylite, and I have run out of catchphrases at the moment.
Yeah, well, welcome to Overload, developed by the people who made Descent 1 and Descent 2, and not Descent 3. I want to get one thing clear right off the bat for you guys. The reason why the menus are all curving like this was because Overload was originally designed as a VR game and not played on your regular screen.
What? You're not going to be playing in like 120 degrees field of view?
Nah, I've got better things to do with my processing power.
Yeah, lots of options here. Fancy.
Yeah, I'm just,
None of that windshield smear either.
No. But I'm just going through the options to show you guys what's going on here. And yes, movement speed to trichord, because that's the only way to play.
Yeah, that was lacking in Descent 3, wasn't it?
Yes.
I like the camera options and like movement smoothness options here. I bet that probably helps a lot with accessibility and, not feeling sick in a 3D environment where you're floating and rotating and all that.
Mm-hmm. But first...
So, I think they probably studied that a lot for this game.
Yeah, but first, plot. Basically, we've been on our way to Saturn for the past 2 years because, we don't have magic FTL drives.
Does this fit into the actual Descent?
That's right, there really are a lot of moons in Saturn in real life.
Yeah.
Does this fit into the Descent continuity, or is it just made by the same people and same style of game?
Same people, same style of game. It is not Descent.
Okay.
Uh-oh, neurological damage detected. That sounds good not.
On board the MPSV Iberia, a multi-purpose supply vessel registered to Kronos Frontier, a subsidiary.
This is our mission briefing, well, as it says on the top there. But as I was going to, this AI, Mara, is going to be letting us know what's going on and speaking to us between levels. Because this game actually has a plot.
Are temporary. We are now
Good to know.
around the moon.
Does Mara stand for something, or is it just Alexa in its name?
Received a distress
It's Alexa.
Alright.
facility here.
This is Ymir, Outpost.
So in your assessment, is Mara better or worse than Guidebot?
Operators are hostile.
Actually, I'm just so used to not using Guidebot now that I keep forgetting that the Guidebot in this game is manifestly superior for two reasons. Number one, the Guidebot is holographic. It does not interfere with your ship.
Provide assistance.
There will be
Very
no
nice.
firing.
That's handy.
There will be no firing of flares into the windshield.
That's much appreciated.
A Godachi
Or into the
ship is docked on
thing that you were trying to be stealthy getting around.
according to your personnel.
Yeah, and there's also, as I said, I'm so used to not using the Guidebot that, I actually need to show it off in the game, but
Field.
my run through this currently is trying to aim for the, go through the entire game without using the Guidebot, or without using your version of the Guidebot achievement. And
So I see that the ship we're flying now is like slightly less extended wings, and it's kind of more squat and spherical almost.
it is. It's a bit more compact to better fly through the mines. But right now...
That probably helps a little bit with being able to kind of feel out where the boundaries of your ship are.
Mm-hmm. But our first two weapons are basically standard issue lasers, standard issue concussion missiles. Oops, sorry, I was just flicking through the enemies there a bit too fast. And weapon number 3 was high velocity, high volume, low damage dumbfire missiles.
So it's like a cloud of small missiles?
Yes.
I can imagine situations that would be very handy for.
So is that kind of like the Cyclone, except you don't have it shooting out as a single one first? It just fires a bunch of them at once?
It fires as long as you're holding down the button.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Our operators are malfunctioning. 2 people are dead, several injured, 3 missing.
Barry John, you seem to have left your mouse cursor on the video. We're going to have words after this is done.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I caught it later, and I keep moving the mouse off to the side at some point, and basically, I know. I'm sorry, everybody. This is an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful game, and I'm ruining it with the mouse cursor.
You can at least have a black
You had
cursor
the
too,
opportunity
man.
to re-record the first level. You chose not to take that option.
You take the good run through rather than the pretty one, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And
I like those, like, the way that they're kind of highlighting the edges of those projectiles. Kind of helps you see them a little bit better when it's busy like this. Although this is, like, the tip of the iceberg as far as busyness goes.
oh yeah.
On Ymir to upgrade defenses
So there are logs in this game, which are little 1 or 2 sentence audio clips. And one of the things I am going to do is, aside from rescuing all of the hostages when we get to them, is collecting all the logs in the game.
Ooh, nice map.
Yeah.
That's a good mix.
So I guess our goal is not to find a reactor, but just to find all robots and destroy them. I think that's what the mission was talking about, and that's what that little counter in the upper right is talking about.
Yeah. The general idea is that at this point we don't know what's going on, just that the robots have gone rogue. So let's just destroy all the robots.
Wow, you mean they'll actually be able to reclaim this facility and reuse it for its intended purpose? Amazing.
Yeah. The Hunter is your standard issue homing missile. So, well, and this little red dot there, it's a switch.
So we're back to the blow up the panel kind of switch?
Yep.
Gotcha.
And they made it...
I like how clean the lines and edges are of all this place. I mean, these are pretty bog standard textures, if I do say so myself, but it's a nice aesthetic going on here.
It is. It's like...
Pretty readable.
I mean, it is a very beautiful game, in motion, in stills. You can tell where you're going. You can tell the level design is polished in this game.
Yeah, like a critical part of playing Descent when you're flying into a new or even a familiar area is being able to identify where are the crevices, where are the side passages, even if they're pretty far away from your field of view. And the way this is laid out does seem like it's trying to help you identify where are those places that enemy robots could peek out from. So that's really good.
Yeah, they've got a lot of those like neon lights along the edges of things, so you can see the shape of the geometry of the level a lot easier.
Yeah, you need to be able to tell the difference between a flat wall and a flat wall that has a hole in it.
Yeah.
And that sounds easy, but it's actually pretty hard to do in general.
Especially when you don't necessarily have a lot of control over the lighting, because your lighting is coming from your weapons and stuff like that. And obviously they added lighting to make it happen, but yeah.
So I grabbed the security key. So we're back to Descent 1 and 2, where you're grabbing keys to advance through the level. But the keys... Sorry. I'll get to this in... Actually, you know what? I'll talk about that in a later level when it becomes important.
Sure.
Wow, pretty.
Yeah, I like that transition from, like, building construction area to just hollowed out mine.
An attack on this.
Yeah, this is a nice playground to get you used to the game, just like the first levels of all those other games. It's just large enough so that you can explore a little bit, but not so large that you get lost.
I did notice there seemed to be some secret passages earlier, or secret areas, that looked very Descent 1/2-ish. I'm liking it so far.
Okay. And that's, you can see the missile pod in action. It does alternate between firing on the left and the right, depending on which is the active side at the moment. But it's basically, just fire a horde of dumbfire missiles at the target.
I will admit one thing that is bothering me a little tiny bit is how the The little rectangular HUD elements on the lower left corner, the lower right corner, and the upper right corner move. They shake a little tiny bit when you rotate. I think that might be an effect of the VR design that you were talking about earlier. But it is pretty noticeable while I'm watching the video now.
It's one of those things that you can turn off in the options.
Okay, that's handy. That's well appreciated.
And it's definitely a design of where they're just kind of like floating elements in a helmet rather than part of the ship's HUD.
Yeah.
Including the mouse cursor.
Including the mouse cursor.
I'm sorry.
Alright, so here's a question go ahead.
But on a more serious note, I do like how the meters are presented in very readable format. Like, that's a good font for numbers. That's a good, horizontal meter design is a standard for a reason. It's readable. You can glance at that stuff and then glance back at your combat.
Yeah. You were saying, eh?
Yeah, the question we have to ask, do you ever get any centerfire weapons?
Yes.
Fantastic. And is the gap between the ones that alternate sides, or like your lasers that go on both sides, are they too big of a gap for some of the enemies you see? It seems like the enemies so far have been pretty reasonably sized. So
no,
cool.
They paid attention to the problems of Descent 3, and the first center line weapon is going to be the Gauss rifle of this game, without being as awesome as the Gauss rifle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that most early game enemies don't move at all, or they're so slow that you can easily track them. They're basically sitting ducks for you to be able to hit easily, because it's complicated enough to dodge enemy fire and aim at a stationary target without having to dodge enemy fire and aim at a moving target.
Allow me to introduce you to my mainstay weapon for most of the early game, the Cyclone. The Cyclone... Yep. The Cyclone fires 3 shots at a time, and if you look at the HUD, you'll see the little triangles there, or the little 3 lines. They will rotate around as I fire to indicate where the next shots are going to go.
So it fills in the area a little bit, but it's still kind of a precision weapon, where it's it's a tight cluster, but fills in that space in that cluster.
Yeah,
I like that. It looked like it was going to be the Gauss
handy.
weapon, but it is not, clearly.
You can tap it once if you just want to, clip something that's near the middle, but you can use it Helix Cannon style if you really want to.
Yep, but the thing what makes it really closer to the Helix Cannon is that the longer you hold down the button, the faster the shots come. So you just tap and hold, and it's like pump, pump, pump. But you hold it down for like a second, and suddenly it's like brap.
That feels rewarding. That feels fun.
Because you can even see that there, like how it's.
Which is nice, because you're going to be holding it down when you're in more intense firefights, or when you're up against a tougher guy. You need that little extra punch.
Now that glowing Falcon pickup is a super pack. It's basically gives me 20 Falcons that goes over my normal storage limit on the ship.
Alright, use them or lose them. They're giving you free license to go ham with them.
Exactly. In later levels, you'll find these guys just before the final section of the level, like the reactor or whatnot. Now, you may not have noticed it there, but I actually ran into that guy. This game has collision damage to the point where you actually, if you're hitting the afterburner when you hit an enemy, you are technically boosting into them, which is seen as you ramming the enemy as your own melee attack.
Oh.
So you might take a little tiny bit of damage, but it's more in your favor. Like, they will take a lot more damage than you do.
Yeah.
Huh.
And if you have the invulnerability on, exactly,
tasty.
Yeah, exactly what you think is going to happen happens.
You take none of the damage and still deal out a decent amount?
Yep. Sorry, I paused there because on my other computer I had the guide for the level because I want to make sure I was catching all the secrets, or at least finding all the logs.
You mean you had the strategy guide printed out in a magazine on your desk and you were palming through it.
That too.
I do miss the old design for the energy pickups a little bit, where you have like the balls going around the diamond-ish shape in the middle, whereas these are just
Yeah, it was a little bit more distinct of a silhouette,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see how that turns out in later levels where there's more of a just more busyness going on.
It's true.
It's not that bad, actually, because it helps teach the player that circles are good.
That makes
energy
sense.
Except for glowing circles going towards you. Those are bad.
Yeah.
Life support and comms are failing.
But basically, like the upgrades that I've got in front of me here that I'm going to pick up in a moment, the energy, the shields, the security keys, the logs, they are all circles they're all circles as pickups, which gives them a relatively unique. You were saying earlier how like shapes in the game. By making them all circles, it makes them an easy visual shorthand for you can go you can pick this up.
And even the switches.
Okay,
are circles,
there's
too.
the exit. Now see, that's compliance right there. You're not going to miss that.
Yeah,
Clear lock on
which again goes into that good design language, because it's even the switches like that are circles. So it's like if it's a circle, shoot it or pick it up.
Maybe in Descent 4 they'll finally have glowing arrows on the floors leading towards the exit.
I think that was an intentional choice in the classic Descent. Was you kind of had to look for the exit, and there was some threat to that, which added some intensity to it. They did usually have those glowing red arrows going toward the reactor room, though.
Yeah, there were.
Oh yeah, I really appreciated those levels that had those like glowing, like there were those strips that had the red arrows kind of cycling through them. That was a neat effect.
Sorry, this is just me just double checking. I should have collected all of the secrets in this level, and I've made sure that I grabbed all the logs, because in this game.
But yeah, there's so much attention to detail in this game.
Oh, did you see the shadow I cast?
I was
on
about to comment on that. Yes, I did see that. That's nice.
But I just want to say about the... Oh, you can see the red reactor there, by the way. I'm not blowing it
Yeah,
up.
this is a well laid out map. My goodness, it's gorgeous.
And it's
Yeah,
easy to
and-
read in...
I'm gonna just frame that and put that on my wall.
Yeah, it's...
But as
ahead.
I was saying about the logs, the last log of each level is usually the one that is most important to the plot.
What happens if you miss the log?
It just goes in numerical order. So the first log you pick up plays the first audio cue, the second log is the second audio cue, etc., etc.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what order you pick up the logbook options in, it'll just always give you the first one no matter what location on the level you go to.
That's right.
Is it possible...
That's a little bit strange, but it's good for gameplay, so...
Wait, you just blew up?
Nope, I teleported out with my short-range teleporter on my ship.
Oh, we didn't have to take the emergency exit because it wasn't an emergency.
That's right.
So short-range teleportation only. Got
Yep.
it. I like.
But that was my first level. I'll see you all next time.